Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heidi from My Reading Life, and I'm here today to discuss my TBR for Nonfiction November. Yay! It's Nonfiction November again, and it is the best time of the reading year. So, Nonfiction November is a month-long reading initiative hosted by Olive over at A Book Olive. I will link her announcement video for the 2021 go-around of Nonfiction November down below. I know you all know about this, especially if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, because you know how much I love nonfiction. So for this year, which is I think the 7th year of Nonfiction November, which is crazy, we have 4 word prompts, but all that you have to do to participate in Nonfiction November is to read one nonfiction book during the month, or to try to read a little bit more nonfiction than you normally do. Now, I normally already read quite a bit of nonfiction in a month, but this is going to be my TBR for the month and my sort of pile of possibilities. I don't think I will get through everything, but these are the things that I will be focusing on for the month. So our 4 word prompts are, which you don't have to use them, but if you would like to, these are the prompts: collection, industry, style, and treatment. So these are the books that I've chosen for each of those prompts. So for the first one, collection, I have here Eleanor Roosevelt's My Day, which is a collection of her newspaper columns from 1936 to 1945. I just picked this up at a library book sale this past summer. I really love Eleanor Roosevelt, and I've been wanting to read these columns since I first learned about them by reading The Black Cabinet back in February for Black History Month. So super excited to get started. There are 3 volumes of her columns that I have that are her collected columns. So if I, blaze through this one, I could always read those other 2 collections as well. The second book I have for the prompt collections is The Best American Science and Nature Writing from 2020. This is a collection of science themed articles, papers that were written and collected into this one volume. So there's probably like 20 or more different pieces of science writing in this collection. I really love the Best American series, and I particularly love the Science and Nature Writing collection. I get this every year, and I'm super excited to read this one. I am a little concerned that they've changed the style, the format of the cover, because I've been collecting these, and now this one's not going to look the same as the rest of them on my shelf, which, is irritating, but such is life. Okay, so prompt 2 is industry. And for that, I have this work of oral history. This is Working by Studs Terkel. And in this collection, it is a collection too, so it would work for collection. But in this nonfiction book, Studs Terkel has put together oral histories of people talking about what they do all day and how they feel about what they do. So it's very specifically about industry, in the term of industry meaning working, work life, and all of that. So it is a chunker of a book. I doubt I will finish it in the month, but I would really like to get started. I've had this one on my TBR for a few years, and I'm really, really interested. I do love an oral history. And then the second book that I have for the prompt industry is this one, If Then, How the Simulmatics Corporation Invented the Future by Jill Lepore. I love Jill Lepore, and this nonfiction book, she tackles the IT industry. So basically how computer technology changed after the Cold War or during the Cold War, and then how analytics and things like that have changed how companies target people, consumers. And this book came out, I think, in 2020. I think I got this for Christmas last year. Yeah, this was published in 2020, and I am really excited to read another Jill Lepore book. I loved her history of the United States, which I'm blanking on the name of right now, and also her book about Wonder Woman. These Truths is the history book, U.S. history from its founding until the present. That was excellent. And then The Secret History of Wonder Woman, which was about the man who drew Wonder Woman. So that's for industry. And then for style, I have three choices for style. And these ones actually will all get read because they're all buddy reads. So for the first one, I have The Feather Thief by Kirk, Wallace, Johnson. And the subtitle here is Beauty, Obsession, and the Natural History Heist of the Century. So style fits a couple of different ways for me for this book. First of all, the style of this cover is like so pretty and gorgeous. I think it's really unique with these feathers that are kind of 3D popping off the page. And also feathers were often used in style, in fashion, back in the day. I think in this case, the person was stealing the feathers for the purpose of fly tying. But flies that are tied for fishing also have very unique styles. So that's book one for the style prompt. The second book that I have for a style prompt is for another buddy read. Oh, I forgot to say who is buddy reading. I will be buddy reading this with Kim for Middle of the Book March. Very excited about that one. And then I will be buddy reading with Britta, Under the Sea Wind by Rachel Carson. This is a classic piece of nonfiction writing. Rachel Carson wrote Silent Spring very famously. And then I picked this for style because... tag in there, because these Penguin classics I think have such a lovely style, and they all, you know, have this black bottom with the title, and they all look so lovely on the shelf like that. So I think this is a very stylish cover, particularly with this bird. I really love that. So Rachel Carson needs no introduction. She, like I said, classic author of nature writing and science writing, and I will be buddy reading this with Britta Bowler. And I haven't even shown this book before on my channel because I received it this month for my birthday from Britta. So thanks again, Britta, and I look forward to reading that with you next month. And then for the last book I have for style is Atlas of Poetic Zoology by Emmanuelle Pouydebat, and it is translated by Eric Butler. I think it's translated from the French, if I remember correctly. And the reason I'm choosing this one for style is because this is a unique style of a nonfiction where you have a page or so of essay basically about a species, and then you have these beautiful pieces of art on the adjacent page for the particular animal or plant that's being discussed. So this is about the parrot who doesn't fly. Isn't this gorgeous? I mean, this book is lovely. So stylish, right? Like, amazing. Look at this lobster. Actually, I think that's a shrimp. Sorry. Just glanced at it. And then, I mean, I could just go through and show you all these pages, but if you aren't convinced, you'll probably never be convinced. These are just amazing. Yeah, really looking forward to this. And I will be buddy reading this with Britta as well in the month of November. Okay, so that was style. And then the last prompt is treatment. And for that, I have picked A Map is Only One Story, 20 Writers on Immigration, Family, and the Meaning of Home. This is edited by Nicole, Chung, and Mensah Demary. And this is an essay collection, as it said, and it is about the treatment of migrants, around the world. And it takes, you know, it's going to talk about rediscovering an ancestral village in China, experiencing the realities of American life as a Nigerian, and the search for belonging across many different stories. So looking forward to this one. I've had this one on the shelf for a while, and I've really wanted to be getting to it. So definitely looking forward to that. And that one would also work for collection, right? Because it's collected essays. So, and then lastly for treatment, I have My Own Country, A Doctor's Story by Abraham Verghese. And this is about Verghese's time in the Smoky Mountains of Eastern Tennessee, where he was dealing with their first AIDS patients. So he was a young Indian doctor. He specialized in infectious diseases, and he had to deal with treatment of AIDS in a small rural hospital. So very interested in that for treatment. So then I have, that was for the 4 prompts. Also in the month of November is Indigeathon, where you read books about Indigenous issues, obviously. So I have 2 books picked out for that, one of which is nonfiction and one of which is not. So the nonfiction, I'll be reading Half-Breed by Maria Campbell with Sean the Book Maniac. And this is a memoir about a Métis woman and her treatment during the mid-20th century in Canada. So very much looking forward to that story. Sean and I have been reading a lot about Indigenous issues, specifically in Canada, but the Métis people sort of straddled the border between, in the middle part of the North American continent, between the country that is now known as Canada and the country that is now known as the United States. The Métis territory was sort of in the middle of that northern part of the U.S., southern part of Canada, in the middle part of the continent. So looking forward to that memoir. And then finally, I will be reading The Seed Keeper by Diane Wilson. Diane Wilson is a Dakota author, and this is the book for the Book Naturalist Book Club for the month of November. So this book, it is fiction. It's actually the first fictional piece that we'll be reading for the Book Naturalist Book Club, which is kind of ironic during the month of Nonfiction November, but it is also Indigeathon. So this book fits in perfectly well with that reading theme. And this is the story of a woman who, as a child, was taken away to a residential school and then comes back to her home and tries to grapple with what has happened to her family. And in the process of trying to work the farm, there's some keeping of seeds involved in that process. So that's all I really know, and I got that from the back of the book. I don't really know anything else about this. I have seen this book around quite a bit. It seems to be garnering a lot of praise, and it has an absolutely beautiful cover, so that's exciting. So that's what I'm thinking about for my pile of possibilities for Nonfiction November and for Indigeathon. Please let me know in the comments down below if you will be joining in with Nonfiction November reading and what you are most excited about reading for the month of November. So I would be very happy to hear any and all discussion of nonfiction books. I hope you're all doing well and finding some great books to read, and I will talk to you later.